What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Building Code. I'm Zach Petovich.
And I'm Charlie Birtwhistle.
Here again with my good friend Charlie. Long reunited. We've been intermixed here, but for me in the recording studio, it's been a minute since I've seen you.
It has been a minute, unfortunately. But it feels fantastic to be back. It's kind of a gloomy day here in Omaha, Nebraska. So coming into this brightly lit, beautiful studio with all my best friends in one spot is a fantastic kind of refresher.
Well, your skin tone looking fantastic for those of you that don't see us on YouTube. You want to see what we look like and our pasty winter skin coming into the summer sunshine of Nebraska spring. Let me tell you, it's a sight to behold. Charlie's holding it down.
I think you're being facetious because I was looking at myself on camera and I'm like, that is one pale
I would
person.
never be facetious.
Yeah, that's just like who you are as a person. Well,
allegedly.
Zach, enough about you and your facetious nature. Who do we have today?
Yeah, we got Joe and Adam from Cardinal Crest Construction down in Kansas City, real close. Design build firm. They're both incredible people, incredible builders, incredible business people. I've actually gotten to spend a lot of time with them over the past few months, and a little bit, I joke with some of our other contractor friends where I'm starstruck. There are a few handful of folks that when I get in a room with them, I'm kind of like, all right, be cool. I want them to like me.
Yeah.
It's like I have to, so we'll see where the episode goes, but they're both amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Kind of the starstruck in nature, getting ready to.
I hate to say it out loud, but a little bit.
I am. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and what are we talking about today, Charles?
Today, we are going to be talking about CBUSA. They just recently helped start a chapter of CBUSA in the Kansas City market. So we're going to talk about some of the nascent benefits they've seen from that and how other builders can benefit as well.
I love it. Well, let's get the two bad boys in here and let's start talking a little about CBUSA.
Let's do it.
Joe, Adam, welcome back to the Building Code. You're great fans of the podcast and, of course, Buildertrend. How are we doing?
Great. Fabulous.
Enthusiastic.
It's a beautiful day in Kansas City, a little wet, but other than that, we're doing amazing.
Love that. And about to get even better for the next half hour or so. This is my favorite part of the day, obviously. You guys have been on the Building Code before. Obviously, Cardinal Crest does a lot of promotional content and stuff like that. So hopefully everyone listening is well aware of who you are. But for those that are just learning about you for the first time today, I'd love if you could just share a little bit about yourself, your roles, and obviously the company Cardinal Crest.
Take it away, Adam. You go first.
Oh, gosh. So Joe and I, we're the founding fathers of Cardinal Crest, and the worldwide headquarters is located in Kansas City, Missouri. We started this company about 13 years ago. In the beginning, it was just Joe and I for the first 5, maybe 3-4 years. And then we started to hire at around year 5. And since then, we have grown the company. We've started a commercial arm. We've started a property management arm and a development arm, which is awesome. On the home side, we've built around 150 homes since our beginning. It's been great.
Since 4 scores ago.
Yes.
Little historical theme here on the Building Code today.
Yeah, it's founding fathers. I just envision like a little flute player.
Yeah. Cue the fiddle. Yeah, that's the new intro. Like, should we lean into it in the intro of the song? It's like we just go full 1776, or we go Declaration,
definitely,
the Star Spangled Banner, not the Declaration of Independence. Different.
I hope this comes out around July 4th. John could cue in.
That would be better. Yeah,
some patriotic music, and we could. Yeah.
You know what? God bless him.
That was a great intro
on the Building Code today.
Well, if you're listening to this and it is
a Building Code.
If you guys are listening to this and it is July 4th, then this plan has come to fruition. If you're listening to this and it's not July 4th,
totally intentional.
We failed in our kind of ad hoc pitch here. But thank you guys for the intro and excited to dive in a bit. Topic for today, we're going to talk about CBUSA this time. Obviously, you guys have shared some great information before. That's kind of the topic we want to dive into today. How did you first discover CBUSA, and maybe why were you looking to join a group purchasing network?
Yeah, I'll take that. I had heard of different purchasing groups before, and there is one that is in Kansas City that I can't remember the name of it, to tell you the truth right now, but there's a smaller one that some people were membership had membership of, and we weren't. And then, truthfully, Brad Levitt was a great cheerleader of of CBUSA, and he was. I was with him. I think it was in one of our Builder 20 group meetings, and he was talking about all the benefits that he has seen through CBUSA. And so I was it not in 2024, 2023, I was at the IBS Builder Show in Vegas, and I went up and talked to one of the CBUSA guys and was like, hey, interested. I don't believe we have a chapter from Kansas City. And he was like, oh, yeah, you guys are on our list. We've got to get together and kind of put it in the right components, right people. And one day, one of the guys called me. I can't remember these names. I'm sorry. But he's like, let's do it. I'm really excited. I've researched some builders. Why don't you give me a list of builders that you would recommend that would really want to be a part of this? And, we kind of just talked through the most active HBA members first. And then their team just went to town and contacting everybody. But so that chapter is newly formed right now in Kansas City. But anyway, after researching just more and more and hearing word of mouth of just a buyer group, what does that mean? What are the rebates? What are the advantage of it? We just thought it was something that would really benefit us.
One of the things that is interesting with you two in particular with CBUSA is you're pretty active with your Builder 20 group as well. So in your conversations around how you are running your business, how you're growing community within the building industry, is that another avenue that, you're wanting to bring to other people that you're connected with? Or is this something that came to you? Or is this like one of the things we joke about at Buildertrend is we acquired CBUSA through co-construct, and then we kind of just were like, what's a CBUSA thing? We were a little bit unaware, right, of what was happening with this organization. What has been your experience with these group purchasing organizations and your other groups that you are a part of is what I'm asking. That was a long, drawn out question.
But I like it. It's a great question. Couple in one. So the compounding question.
You think I'd get better at this over time? No.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe we should have done some research.
Yeah.
No. Well, here, I'll speak this. Sorry, Adam. I think in the Builder 20 group, there are members who are part of CBUSA and then part of their own buyers group. The Builder 20 group is really great just because there's a lot of honesty that comes about to understanding like how people deal with other suppliers and subs. And the only thing I'll say, and I'll let Adam fill in the rest, but one thing that, and I'm not sure this answers your question completely, but one thing that's been really great as it's been kicked off here in Kansas City, the CBUSA buying group, is that you see a great collaboration between competitors. Not, obviously in like a type of price fixing, but in a way of just sharing information on a sense of like, what subs are being used, what suppliers, what strategies you have, and just, I think breaking down a little bit of barriers to just friendships as well, where sometimes competitors can be hard. It can be a dog-eat-dog world in construction and a lot of big personalities. And the buyer group itself has kind of, I think, opened the doors to more collaboration within competitors, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with what Joe is saying. When Joe and I, honestly, I wasn't necessarily looking for a buying group to be a part of. Rewind 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, Joe and I, we were actively trying to connect with the Builder 20 group. We wanted to be a part of a Builder 20 group. And luckily we landed with an amazing group, ACBC, Go Hammers. It's been an incredible group that has, completely changed the way that we do business and our outlook on business. It's been incredibly beneficial. And for those of you who don't know what a Builder 20 group is, it's a group of 20 like-minded builders in non-competing markets, and you share everything. You share your business secrets, your financials, everything with the intent that you as a group will become better builders. So now we're in this Builder 20 group. We heard about CBUSA. CBUSA for me and the way that I see it, and it's still relatively new in our market, but it is like a mini Builder 20 group in a sense where builders are collaborating within your market, and you are sharing little secrets about your market. And the whole point of it is to improve as builders and improve our bottom line, so that we can all grow and benefit from it.
Yeah, it's funny. Every time we have someone on here to talk about CBUSA, obviously, like, the headline items are like rebates and group purchasing power and, partnerships with national suppliers. But the thing that everyone talks about when we ask them about that, it isn't necessarily those things. It's the networking effect and the ability to learn from other like-minded builders and lead. Obviously, you guys are leading from the front from a community aspect with all the different organizations that you're a part of. But it's a great way for contractors to get out there and start talking to their like-minded individuals that are trying to achieve the same thing and have the same goals. And I know, the application process to get into CBUSA is pretty strict to make sure that it's just kind of the best of the best that are, operating and learning from that. So it's interesting to hear your guys' perspective from a brand new chapter that's just getting started. It's very, very similar to a lot of the other builders that we've talked about before.
Oh yeah, I mean, and you see a little bit of, we've heard and seen that because I think when builders can be reluctant to share, right? Because it's their competitive advantage sometimes, and even reluctant to share certain subcontractors or suppliers because they could, if everyone knows about this great subcontractor, well, then everyone will be using them and maybe he'll raise his prices and all this. And so, in the past, I've totally been on that side of like trying to ask a builder that I know about a sub, and frankly, they just said no or wouldn't share. So, as we're now starting the CBUSA chapter here in Kansas City, everyone has to have a buy-in and say, yes, you will share the subs that you use and we'll vet them out with the application process. And yes, you will share the pricing that you get from them because we want to do it as a group, which will be beneficial for the subcontractor as well. It's a two-way street here. And so it's not, all just about builders getting their best price, but it's just getting kind of awkward conversations that are sometimes really hard to do. It's a group that facilitates those awkward, hard conversations around purchasing power, supply, breaking up some of these, turnkey subcontractors to suppliers and labor. And, now we have a purpose behind it where sometimes individually, yeah, you can try to do that, or one or two one-off builders can try to do that. But having this one organization that kind of facilitates that has helped a lot.
There is a unique, I think we might have a unique perspective on this. And there's lots of builders that share this perspective because we are just starting out. CBUSA is just starting out in Kansas City. Yeah. It's a brand new chapter. And so there is, when you're sitting and you're participating in these meetings, you're looking around and there's 15 of your competitors in there, and there's an immense amount of hesitation. When these first questions are asked and everyone's like, should I say that?
It's like the first day of school.
Totally. And luckily,
first day of school.
Totally. Like and luckily there's, our director of ops, I believe that's what his official title is, Johnny. He's incredible. He facilitates the conversation. And so I feel like the more that the builders in those markets rely on CBUSA, participate in the questionnaires that are sent out, participate in the conversations, and most importantly, just show up to the meetings, you will start to realize that there's a huge benefit to be a part of this group. I think maybe later on in the conversation, we should touch back on subcontractors and how they could potentially feel about this, because I'm sure a lot of subcontractors listen to this podcast, but we could probably dive into that. I don't know how focused we want to be on CBUSA here, but
despite the shock and awe of our production, there are no real rules. So you take us where you want to go. But I did want to, before I did have a thought. So
let's hear this thought.
Yeah,
Zach.
it's so profound. It's a question. That's probably too long. I'm just letting you know.
So strap in.
Yeah. You maybe go get some hydration
water
if you need it. Yeah.
I'll condense it down once he's done.
That's why we need two hosts.
It,
it's like, okay, he just talks too much. And Charlie actually asked the real substance question. Just ask everybody that knows me. I am curious though, have you met any new builders from it that you were aware of, but never maybe made the connection? Or like, have you started to have any of those exchanging of the actual, it's like there's business relationships, so there's things that are different. Is CBUSA, like, could you see that being something happening because of this as well? Or did you know everybody in the room? I guess it's like, what's that been like?
I'm sure Joe knew a lot of the members in the group because Joe's very, very, he's very active in our HBA, our local chapter. For me, I was aware of the majority of the builders in the group. I had personally not met officially a couple of them. So it did open up that avenue for networking where I was able to meet these people, see how they interact with other people, and then also just understand they're just like me. Mm-hmm. We're just trying. Mm-hmm. We're all trying to do our best to provide an exceptional product for our clients and hopefully make some money doing so.
We kind of had like a perfect storm kind of happen where before CBUSA came into the market, the HBA, myself and another builder started hosting these builder council meetings, and they were like every other month. Actually, they were monthly at one point, and then like every other month, and they were like mini Builder 20 sessions where the idea was builders only, principals of businesses only, so owners of companies. And we were getting together, and at first all we talked about was NAHB performance standards of like financial reporting. And how do we get to a point where we can benchmark ourselves with the NAHB financial reporting standards? Because the NAHB comes out with a report that says, semi-custom builders or custom builders or production builders, report this gross margin and this amount of commissions, this percentage of framing and all this different things. They do a really good study. And so we had like 6 weeks of just talking about that. And it was really like same deal. Like the first 2 meetings were very like just me and this other builder presenting, just talking a lot and trying to get like information from people. And then it started opening up and people started seeing the real value of sharing and getting into the weeds of each other's businesses. And so I felt like that was a good like trailblazing kind of before, to then people seeing like, oh my gosh, there's a real benefit of like sharing openly. And it's not like just because I share this one little tidbit about my business that I've learned, all of a sudden that one builder's going to like, completely like dominate the industry. And so I think that was a good opening to then CBUSA to just share a little bit more and collaborate with other people.
Yeah, laying the groundwork there. I could see how that could be instrumental to, alleviating some of that initial hesitancy. I am curious, back to your point, Adam, before Zach completely changed the script there, of just your kind of thoughts on, of course, that was a great question, Zach. And other than like the 2-minute intro to your question, it's pretty succinct.
You're doing it right now. This is so meta. You're like giving context of the context about the context.
Yeah, we're off the rails here. But just the subcontractor point of view, I'd be really interested in your thoughts there, Adam. Because obviously a ton of benefits there outside of just kind of the initial builders.
And something we've never really talked about with CBUSA. So I would love that perspective.
Yeah. So
Buckle up. Buckle up.
Ooh.
Gonna get
Ooh.
spicy.
Hold on. Let me introduce my answer
Okay.
with no.
I was like,
I'll just go straight to it. Let's go straight to it.
Is it missed on anybody
30
too?
seconds to introduce the answer.
yeah.
We made a joke about CBUSA and then went on this like trailblazing of Americana, and then they came back, and then it hit me like USA is in the topic of the.
Oh, wow. Great
So
call.
Yeah.
Please make an intro of like, just some patriotic music, a little flute playing of this
America.
one.
we
I
have
think it's
confirmed
just-
this is coming out the weekend before the 4th of July as well. So we are
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect.
We have teased this question enough though, Adam. Let's get to it.
Let it
So,
roll.
oh man, where to start? So basically think of this, some of the meetings are Joe and I, we're in a market where our drywaller, he supplies the material and the labor. We're in a market where our roofers supply material and labor, kind of all these little turnkey packages. We're in a market where the majority of our tile selection houses also supply labor and materials, our hardwood flooring, labor and materials. So as a subcontractor that is signing up, I think there is a lot of hesitancy in a sense, because what Builder20 does, or sorry, what CBUSA does is they challenge, or they want that relationship from a subcontractor to a builder. They want transparency within the relationship. Now, I look at my perspective, for the last 1 to 3 years, as a builder, we have had to figure out a way to be completely transparent with our homeowners. There has been a time that we have never felt before where we had to share everything just to create an somewhat enjoyable experience for our homeowners, as pricing has just gone out of control. The only way to do it is to be as transparent as possible. And that's the only way to salvage relationships with our buyers, with our owners, our clients. And so I feel like for the last 3 years, we've been having to defend ourselves constantly. And the best way to do that is to be transparent. Now, where we are today, we as builders, we need to develop a transparent relationship with our trades, with our subcontractors. And what CBUSA does is it helps those barriers, or it challenges that transparency in a sense where, first and foremost, what we're starting with in our market is drywall. We're going to buy our drywall material directly from the supplier, and our drywall subcontractor, he's just going to provide provide the labor to install that material. Now, a trade might think, well, I'm making a markup on that material, and so this is going to hurt my bottom line. I don't feel that that's true in the CBUSA group. What we're finding out is it's actually difficult in our market to find a drywall guy that will actually separate the material and labor. So those 1 or 2 guys that do commit and do separate, they're going to get all the business of those 20 builders that are in that group. And I think there's a ton of benefit for that. We're not asking the drywall guy to remove his time and energy spent in providing a takeoff for the home. We want them to include that in their cost to us. We just want to separate the material from the labor. And we want to start to challenge those relationships throughout all the line items in our cost codes, really. But the idea is develop a transparent relationship with the trades. If we can do that, then there's trust there. And then all that leads to is a long-lasting relationship. And those guys, those subcontractors will continue to get work from us.
That's amazing. It makes a lot of sense. I have seen this play out a time or two with different builders, that change definitely is more about education than it is about like the underlying problem. It's like, this is why we're doing this. This is the benefits you're going to get, the benefits I'm going to get. And I think that withholding the benefits I get is where that, people start to fill in the gaps. They're like, well, he must be getting something above, right? If you're not willing to share those things. And this just kind of facilitates that relationship. And I love seeing contractors help bring up the whole market, right? So like it starts here, but this will be the beginning of something much bigger that ultimately could shift the way that the Kansas City market works, which is really, really impactful and cool. And, something that CBUSA helps be a part of. So really interesting though. We've not heard that perspective from other CBUSA members on the podcast.
I was just say, we've definitely talked a ton about like the pricing transparency to the homeowner.
Yeah.
But the everything you just makes sense on the subcontractor side follows in the same vein as Zach was talking about.
I mean, our market is we have a lot of subcontractors that are what we call turnkey, like Adam has discussed, that the labor and supply is one number and they don't break that out. And there is, and there will continue to be, feathers a little ruffled because we're ultimately taking down their, if their number, let's just say drywall, if it's $50,000 and, 30,000 of that is actually supply, I'm just throwing these numbers out here. It then takes down their number and ultimately what they're marking up and what they're making. I think that will level off over time. At first, we're kind of in the shock phase of like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to make less money. And I think they'll figure it out to make. But what I think it's really important is it puts the purchasing power back into the hands of the people who are actually purchasing. Like ultimately the builder is the one who's purchasing this product and that we're choosing the supplier we're purchasing from. Before there's kind of these gatekeepers, that are set up. And I think that's really disruptive in a good way. And we've seen that play out in the last 50 years. I mean, that's what the internet has done so well, is that, and smartphones and everything else, all the technology, is that it's disrupted gatekeepers in a way that there's more transparency, and ultimately it does make it more efficient in pricing, more efficient in ordering, more efficient in quality. All those things kind of get leveled out. At first, anytime there's a disruption like that and you're taking down some gatekeepers, people get upset. And that's what's happening. And it's going to happen, but it does level off. And again, I think it's important if we're a design build firm, so we're drawing our own plans for the most part, not all of them, but for the most part, we're drawing plans and speccing things. So, and there's a lot of builders like that, the purchasing power should be with us, that we choose a supplier, that we choose what products we want in there. And I think it's a little backwards in it when the subcontractor is doing that. And truthfully, it puts a lot of liability on them when they have to choose a supplier as well. So there's some benefits all around and it will level off, but for sure, there's some heated feelings about it. And there's some subs who are pretty upset about it. And I think nervous, which they shouldn't be. At the end, we understand everyone's got to make money. You've got your margin that you got to make. That will all level out. But I think it's important to have these kind of barriers knocked down, and the purchasing control should be within the businesses who are actually initiating the purchase.
Yeah, I think for me, the interesting whole perspective on it is, you brought up the risk, and I can only imagine in some ways you will end up making them maybe more efficient to be able to do more jobs because they're not having to go through the logistical process of getting the material on site. But I totally understand your perspective as well, where it's like, look, we have this very deep relationship with customers, working with them for 2 years probably for, between pre-construction and, delivery in some cases. Like you're delivering the final product. The drywaller in this example is kind of one piece of a much bigger puzzle that, you have to kind of have that perspective to actually deliver the product that customer is expecting to buy, right? Down to every detail. Really, really interesting stuff. We're a little bit up against time, so I just want one last question kind of about It's not just subcontractors that can be resistant to change. What about within your market, the people who are like, oh, you're in CBUSA, or like, I don't know, it's not for me. What do we say to those individuals? Like, what's the value prop of like people who do listen to this and like, yeah, I just don't think I want to do that. What would you say to them?
I'd say to wake up. Because
clipping that. Wake up.
Yeah. Within our group here in our market, there are production, semi-production, semi-custom builders, full custom builders that make up this CBUSA group. And you can question, well, I'm a custom home builder. How my business is different than the production builder. So like there are benefits on all levels, right? For the production builders or semi-production builders, being a part of CBUSA, it's an easy, and I say easy, let me take that back. That's a loose word there, but it is an easy way. I'm going to say it again. It's an easy way.
Loose and fast. What's your deal, dude?
For those builders to increase their margins 1%, maybe even 2% on their fixed prices, just being a part of CBUSA. For the custom builders, where we're like, well, we don't want to lower our prices. If we lower our prices, then that would lower our margin. But you got to back away from that thought and think, this makes me more competitive. Because a lot of the subcontractors that are a part of USA or CBUSA, they give you better pricing than other builders. And so that is going to lower our overall cost of the project, but we do benefit on the rebates. And the numbers that I've kind of looked into, if I had $10 million in sales revenue, what I see is it's going to put anywhere from $30,000 to $60,000 back into my account at the end of the year through rebates. And that right there, that alone, that could help pay for benefits for a builder to want to provide benefits for their employees or a new truck for the year, whatever it is. That's a huge benefit for those custom. Then there's those assholes that are custom home builders that don't have to compete. So, maybe you're just so good at what you do, so it doesn't matter what the price is. You still get a benefit on the rebate, which is fantastic. But I do see it helping and benefiting every tier of those individuals that are in the home building realm.
And subcontractors benefit too. Totally. They get these purchasing agreements from a group of builders, and they're large, and they also can plan ahead. It's really beneficial for subs when they buy in, because now they're going to say, okay, I'm going to get so much work this year, and I could plan on that, and they could staff up for that. And then on the other side, I think, for builders all around, I think it's at first it's not discouraging, but it might think like you're giving away trade secrets, but ultimately, just like Adam said, it can help across the board.
Amazing. Well, Joe, Adam, it's always a pleasure to have you here on the Building Code. Word on the street, you can maybe start your own podcast as well. Would you like to plug it now?
Nice. Word on the street. No, because I don't think we have a name for it or anything yet, but it's coming soon. It's coming soon. But you know what? You guys will be the first to know. I will tell.
That's right.
We'll have the scoop.
This was my way of trying to get an invite to check out the studio, so I just thought I'd.
Yeah, you'll have the scoop.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Can't wait to break that news. That'll be huge.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for coming on today. Always an absolute pleasure. And you've secured your next guest spot on the podcast. When you start yours, and we can promo it then. So appreciate the time, guys.
Love it.
Sweet, dude.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Just had Joe and Adam from Cardinal Crest talking all things CBUSA, talking all things America, talking all things Kansas City, subs, vendors. We hit a lot of great topics today, and it was a lot of fun to have them on. They always deliver in terms of their humility and also their humor. And I just love talking to them, and even talking about the meta, the way I ask questions.
Yeah,
good times.
Great times, great banter.
Yes.
Of course. Great content.
Yes. We just love to bring it to you. Charley, what were your takeaways, man?
I think it was a really beneficial episode. I know the focus was meant to be CBUSA, but even getting outside of that specific avenue of just talking about, you use the buzzword networking a lot. Like, what does that really mean? Or community. And I think those two are really leading from the front on what you should be doing if you want to become a better builder, or any, honestly, vertical. If you want to get better at what you do, you need to talk to other people that are doing the same thing. And being able to go into that open-minded and be vulnerable and share secrets is a hard thing to do. So hearing their experience with it and the benefits that they've seen already, I thought was really impactful, and something I think we can continue to push. CBUSA can continue to push. People like Joe and Adam can continue to push, and just building this kind of construction community that we all want to have is going to lift everyone up. We'll lift our builders up. We'll lift our subcontractors up. We'll lift our suppliers up. And there's a way where we can all get better together, which is like literally Buildertrend's mission. So I thought it was a really cool perspective and a good kind of reminder of, hey, we're all on the same team here. Let's try to knock this out together.
It was really interesting to hear them talk about the market dynamics.
Yeah.
You hear about that quite a bit. It never really occurred to me that from submarket to submarket that the turnkey concept would be so different, and I found that really interesting of how you go about starting a new chapter, and you have to work through not just the hesitancy, the first day of school concept. We're like, I don't know what I want to share. Like, who's going to go first? I don't want to be the kid that gets outed, but also just the sub dynamic, having to disrupt the way the sub trades do business. Maybe disrupt's the wrong word, or more evolve the way that they can work with you in order to benefit both parties as equal as possible. And I am curious what it's like in other markets, if CBUSA has had less resistance because of the way that the sub market works versus the GC market. And it's really interesting to explore that little piece, and it makes you kind of zoom out and say, what is it like everywhere? And I love what we also talked about from everybody seems to have the same problems, but it's really hard to find that moment of connection and be like, oh, you're like me. Yeah. And that these networks help bring that into full effect. Like, we have the internet and people can post and connect that way, but you can't really replicate that in-person connection that humans just are wired to crave. Ultimately, they're social creatures, right? So love Joe and Adam's perspective. Again, they just have so much fun with everything they do. Yeah. And it's not surprising that they're so collaborative, just given, their whole ethos as a company, and just fun and, fun loving, and just have, on a mission to build great things in their community. And they know that to do that, they got to connect with everybody in their market. Right.
Yeah.
So,
and they have a fantastic podcast coming out.
That's right.
TBD.
Hint, hint, hint. They were telling us that they were going to build a studio, and so I dropped it on them at the end there. So
watch this space.
Yeah, I'll be one of their first subscribers. You can book it, and if you want to bring us down to Kansas City and like have us on, that
we can do that too.
Yeah. Talk to our booking agents.
Well, Zach, I think that about does it for us on this episode of The Building Code. Thank you all very much for tuning in. As always, like, review, subscribe, give us a shout. We would appreciate it.
Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Thanks for watching the video. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel for exclusive content brought to you by Buildertrend.